Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Burning Rubber Podcast. I'm Jake Scarborough, joined by my co-hosts Kyler Boggs and Fidel Fabian. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Indeed.
Well, it's been a long off season, a long time since we've recorded our last episode, but we're here to kick off the 2025 season. Starting off with our Clash review for the NASCAR Cup Series season. They raced at Bowman Gray Stadium, obviously being at the LA Coliseum the past couple of years. Controversial topics going into it. People didn't want to go to Bowman Gray. People wanted to go to Bowman Gray. Obviously, there's the whole discussion of, oh, let's go back to Daytona, etc., etc. Obviously, we have a bunch of takeaways from it, but what do you want to get? Where do we stand on everything, Kyler?
I mean, I thought it was a pretty good weekend overall because, it's something new. I mean, well, in the modern day, it's something new for NASCAR. But I thought the heat races and the LCQ were pretty good. I would say it either needs to have like a cash reward prize or something to raise up the stakes for the Clash because I feel like towards the end of the race when everyone got spaced out and stuff, it was like, all right, let's just not try and kill each other. Um, I remember Dale Jr. On his podcast said that bring the All-Star race there and have them race for $1 million, and I thought that was a great idea because um, you know I just think that having something as a reward like $1 million or whatever the case may be would increase, the stakes of like, the purpose of the Clash. And as far as going back to Daytona, I mean, there's a reason why I got rid of any to begin with anyways. I mean, the last two clashes we had there, I think it was in 2020 and 2021, n- two cars finished the race without damage. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, it was understandable that, they moved it from that because I mean, 2020 that was the worst race I've ever watched as far as a Cup Series race goes. But I mean, for the Clash to be at Bowman Gray, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I just think it was maybe a little bit too long of a race. It should have been like maybe like 150 laps, not 200.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty okay.
Mm. Fidel?
I expected unhinged carnage. There was some unhinged carnage, and I liked the race. That's it.
Fair enough. Kept it short and sweet. No, I'm gonna have to agree with you on this, Kyler. Obviously, it makes sense that NASCAR, went away from Daytona. Our last 2 years there, we had Johnson kind of obliterating the field, and then the race where two cars with no damage finished, and there was like six total in the race, and one of the most damaged cars won. I didn't agree with the LA Coliseum. I felt like it was a great concept, trying to stay into a market where you're leaving. Bowman Gray, obviously going back to our roots with the sport. But I feel like the biggest issue was, as you mentioned, it felt like a very dragged out. You could have shortened the lap count. Um, Something I think I discussed with Fidel on previously was the fact that we've got these rules where, oh, we don't want people intentionally wrecking each other, and we don't want this, that, and the other. And people are complaining about our short track package, yet you're sending us to short tracks for a preseason race, and on top of that, are encouraging these guys to intentionally wreck each other. So it didn't really make sense in that retrospect because obviously, you just penalized the guy for intentionally wrecking someone for a win last year. Meanwhile, you're encouraging these guys to go dump each other, bump each other, do whatever they can to advance to the main race of the Clash. So I feel like there's good things of it, bad things of it. The race itself, it could have been worse. It was about as expected, I feel, but we kind of moved forward. I feel like a lot of fans enjoyed it, so it's just going to be interesting to see how they take it to next year. Moving on from that, though, we do have some other topics either during the off season itself, just kind of hot takes or rumors buzzing. One of those rumors buzzing was the fact that Daniel Suarez obviously signed a 1 year extension with Trackhouse for the 2025 year. And during his interview, he made a statement about, oh, 2024 was a rough year for us. We kind of had to grow, get over some humps. Do you guys think that this could be his last year at Trackhouse? Do you think he was just kind of saying that and being, true to it? He's not going to walk around the issue. Or, is there more to it?
I think he was just saying the truth to it because even Chastain, even he didn't do that good last year anyways. So I just think it's more of a whole team issue rather than just Suarez and stuff. I think they'll be fine. Obviously, Suarez has been with that team since day one. I don't think they would move on from him, to be honest. And even if they were to, I don't see who would replace him, to be honest. And I don't think they would go down to one car with, Chastain. I think they'll be fine. I mean, it was just not a great year for Trackhouse because they were pretty much below average the entire year. That the way I saw it, at least.
I had this prediction in a dream. Suarez gets dropped by Trackhouse and gets replaced by another on the hot seat driver. Kyle Busch drives the 99 for 2026. Calling it right now.
What do you think about that, Kyler?
I
Delusion?
don't see that happening.
I'm hearing delusion of a Kyle Busch fan.
Oh, I'm very delusional.
I,
Kyle Busch is going to retire as an RCR driver.
really?
Mm-hmm.
You will see my body in a ditch if that happens.
I I mean, I see him leaving RCR before he's done full time, but I don't see him going to Trackhouse. I feel like that's an oddball. I mean, if it does happen, I mean it's realistic. He's in the Chevy camp. Trackhouse is a team that's growing. They could obviously use that veteran experience, especially from a champion, and you've got a very hot-headed driver in Chastain who I guess at times, if you want to make the argument, oh, he can show signs of a younger Kyle Busch where he's hot-headed, he's going to just move people out of the way because he doesn't care. I, it's possible, but I'm with Kyler on this. I don't see it happening.
Fuck.
Um, but about the Suarez thing, I don't know. My take is he's calling it as it is. Chastain even kind of said it. You can't really beat around the bush. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, everything's fine," and there's just a fire going on around you. It's like that meme of the dog drinking the coffee. Um, no, I feel like it's hard to say Suarez would leave on his own or even get released from the team. But even if there was another option for him to go somewhere, I don't know what place he would go. I feel like he would drop back down to Xfinity if he left Trackhouse. I don't see a door opening for him anywhere else unless it's like, oh, Legacy Motor Club wants him or Haas expands or Front Row. I don't know. I just don't see a logical place for him to go outside of Trackhouse. So I think he'll stay there. I feel like it's just kind of a rumor where someone's like, "Oh, he's got a contract year, big moves." Um, but yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. I feel like he's just kind of calling it as it is, and we're probably going to see the same performance out of Trackhouse this year, maybe a little more. Now that they took a full year to kind of relearn everything, kind of process. But it's obviously going to be weird because, Chevy's only here for one more year with the Camaro. So who knows what differences that will make. Outside of that, more off-season topics. I think we left off our last episode, whenever that was, the whole 2311 and front row suing NASCAR for a bunch of various reasons. Obviously, there was the situation where NASCAR was going to pull their charters for this year, given the court case, and then they got granted to keep them. Correct me if I'm wrong, the court case is still going, or did it end?
It's still
As far
going.
as I know, it's still going.
Okay, they just kind of agreed to allow them to use their charters for now.
Yeah.
With that being said, with the ongoing lawsuit, 2311 and Front Row both expanded to three-car programs full time. Is that going to be an issue? I want to hear from you guys. Is expanding at this time going to be an issue? Is Front Row and 2311 going to be held back by NASCAR? Is NASCAR going to rig it against both these teams to kind of prevent them from going where they should be? Are we going to see a step back?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think they'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, you got three really good drivers, on Front Row Motorsports and three good drivers on 2311. So, I mean, I think they'll be fine. It's nothing to worry about. It's not like if the teams had like no sponsorships at all, then it would be a problem. But as far as I'm concerned, it seems like, they're fully funded, of course, with sponsors and, other stuff like that. So I think they'll be fine. I think partially, I feel like people are somewhat blowing it out of proportion compared to what it seemed like initially in the off season. With the charters being taken away and stuff like that. I mean, they're still fast enough to qualify into races, so I don't think that would really change anything as far as, oh, do these teams have charters or not? But I mean, I think they'll be fine. It's not, I don't think it's anything to really like panic about or anything like that.
A team is made up of its people, and when it comes to opening up a third car for these teams, if they get the right people, I think they can do the best of what they got. So we have to wait until like mid-season to see if these changes were the best choice or not. But I feel like NASCAR is going to do some cartoonish evil debauchery this season with 2311 and front row. They'll throw some phantom debris yellows. They'll do anything.
I can see the middle ground on this. I do feel like for 2311, it was kind of nothing to expand for them. They've got the money. Um, Obviously one of the more funded teams in the series. Obviously, Riley Herbst brings his own money with Monster, so they've got nothing to worry about. That car is going to pay for itself. Um, Front row, on the other hand, I'm not so sure how I feel about that team. I mean, you've got Gregson, who either underperforms or overperforms in what he's in, it seems like in Cup. He's very hit or miss. Gillen's shown that if the car's good, he can perform. And then Zane Smith, I not sure how I feel about Zane Smith in Cup. Not trash talking, just saying I don't think he's Cup material yet, or he just can't hold it there. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I don't think front row should have expanded yet. Should have kept it two cars. Should have just kept seeing what you can do. Obviously, a bunch of changes in your team. You just lost your veteran driver. Now you've got three young guys. Obviously, Gillen's kind of the veteran now of that team. But it's going to be tough to say with them. 2311, I think, will be fine. As Fidel said, though, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some phantom yellows. We've had this situation with Carl Edwards. Carl and many fans think that the sport was against him. We saw how many phantom yellows called to try preventing this guy from winning a race. Hell, look at 2016 Homestead. That was a phantom caution, basically. Um, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be interesting to see what both teams do, but I wouldn't be totally, shocked if NASCAR tries pulling some shit on either side. Especially if, the lawsuit ends mid-season and NASCAR loses that. So, guess we'll find out. It's a whole, I don't know, FAFO thing. We're gonna find out sooner or later. But mentioning Carl Edwards, there's been some news swirling around, some rumors that he's even addressed the past 48 hours. Kyle Larson openly invited Edwards to be his replacement for the All-Star race practice at North Wilkesboro, because obviously Larson's doing the double with the 600 and the Indy 500. So the All-Star race will play a factor into that. But Edwards has kind of played it off as, oh, I want to do it. The racer in me wants to do it, but the realistic person in me, quote, if I get in that car, I'm probably going to destroy it. No simulator time. He hasn't driven a car in quite a few years, almost 10 years now. Um, what do you guys think? Is it something that could happen? Should he do it? What would happen if he did it?
I mean, to be honest, I don't see him doing it, to be honest, but I mean, if it does happen, I'm sure Hendrick will help him as much as they can with preparation and stuff because, he's never driven the next gen car ever. And, his last race was over 8 years ago. So, um, obviously, a lot of time and preparation would go into that to help him. It would be cool to see, of course, because, it'd be the first time since Homestead we've seen him on track and stuff. So. I could see it happening. Realistically, probably not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't see it happening, but I mean, who knows at this point.
Yeah.
I'd say fuck it, just let it ride.
Um,
I mean, he's got
I,
nothing to lose.
I mean, he doesn't. I was just about to say, what does he have to lose? It's what, a 30-hour minute practice session, something ridiculous because NASCAR doesn't know what they're doing anymore with how to format a weekend. But yeah, say it's a 30-minute practice. Oh no, 30-minute practice. What are you gonna do? Wreck a car where you can't wreck it, really? What's the worst that you're gonna do? Break the toe link. Ooh. The guy running the car isn't even gonna be there, so why does it matter? Edwards has also said himself he doesn't want to return for a team that isn't Joe Gibbs, but obviously a bunch of things play into factor. In his interviews about it, he was basically fangirling over Kyle Larson, saying, "Oh, he's the best driver in the world or one of the best." And it would be so awesome to work with the Hendrick guys. And I feel like it's an opportunity where you can't really turn that down. It's an opportunity to work with arguably the best team put together in the Cup Series as a car, as, crew chief, members, everything. So it would be awesome to see him come back. Do I think he'll do it? Probably not. Um, but, what does he have to lose, as Fidel said? It's kind of just perfect opportunity. I also feel like that this would open the door for him to do something more, especially if, I don't think Hendrick would be against it, especially with JRM having a cup car now with Allgaier, at least for the 500. Wouldn't surprise me if he comes back for another race. I'd like to see it. Nashville, maybe, but, I feel like it's something that can happen, and it would be nice to see happen. But regardless of that, to move forward, I'm trying to see our notes. The bold takes of the season. Obviously, we're gonna have an Instagram post about it. We've all three made our takes and
Yep.
that which are gonna be used. You can use that same one. You can say a different one regarding the Truck Series season. Boldest take you can make, Kyler. Go.
I'm gonna say there's gonna be more than 10 winners.
Okay. Okay. Fidel.
There's going to be a controversy so bad it's going to hit mainstream news with the truck series. And I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be like the 9/11 for the truck series.
Oh, geez.
That's. Are we allowed to use that? Do I have to cut that?
Yeah, that
Um.
might get cut.
Oh, well, you know what? Director's cut. We're uploading the full version regardless. Fidel's canceled. Um, I don't know. I made my bold take on the Instagram post that will be going out shortly, and I'm gonna stick to it. I don't see anything really random, or I guess quote random, being outside of it. But Tony Breitinger's making the playoffs first season. I Something's telling me it's gonna happen. I mean, you're driving for one of the best teams in the series. Obviously, Tricon outside of Corey Heim seems questionable. I gave, last year, both Gray brothers, Taylor more than Tanner, was up front. Um, but I see it being possible. I don't see a way she kind of doesn't. If she does miss, then it would be barely, in my opinion. But her few truck starts, she hasn't been bad. So, having the right equipment, the prep time, etc., etc., I think it's possible. Sky's the limit for her. She's taken her time up the ladder. Yeah, I don't think she'll be a disappointment at all in the series. So yeah, I'm sticking to that take. Breitinger's making the playoffs. As for Xfinity, though, Kyler,
My prediction for Xfinity, Nick Sanchez is gonna win multiple races in the 48.
okay.
I could definitely see it happening.
Well, Fidel, you
I'll
just
go
go.
with something a bit more tame this time.
Okay, okay. Thank the Lord.
And this is 100% bias. Brad Paris will get a win in that 45 car.
In the 45.
Yep.
Kyler, you're an Alpha Prime enjoyer, right? And I,
I don't really care for Alpha Prime to
I
be
thought you
honest,
did at one point. Who am I mistaking? Maybe it's
but
Bogey. Uh,
that's not.
that's an
It'll
odd.
be range shortened. It'll be something
It's
outrageous.
the only
It
way
will
he's gonna
happen.
win that in that car is if it's gonna be a road course win. That's the only way.
We'll bring back the monsoon from Coda 2021 if we have to.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Um, I'm trying to think here. I know my take. I'm gonna leave that to the Instagram post. You know what? Austin Green. We saw him do a couple one-off starts last year. I see him winning at least two races because he's doing like six, eight starts, something like that. I see him winning two races, and I'll double down on it. I see him being the only Jordan Anderson car to win this year because that lineup's Jeb Burton, who's a plate track specialist, and Blaine Perkins, who I think he finished last out of the full-time guys in points last year. Obviously, that wasn't the best car to be in, but I don't know. I don't see much coming from the team. I don't want to hate on him, but I feel like there's going to be some growing pains, but he's going to be the kind of star out of their lineup, even if it's part-time. Cup though.
All right. This this might get some heat to it.
Say Hamlin wins the championship, I'm going to kill you.
I'm I may be dumb, but I'm not delusional.
Okay, thank you.
I am
But
both.
my prediction for Cup, all of Front Row Motorsports gets a win. Todd Gilliland has been very good at the road courses and super speedways. Gragson has been pretty good at the 2 mile tracks like Michigan and stuff like that, for example. And then Zane Smith, I just feel like if if a race goes all to hell, he's up there. Nashville was the perfect example of that last year.
Huh?
I think this year for Cup will be the lowest in TV ratings year over year. I feel like this TV deal is going to be a big push for more piracy. DD12 stream's going to pop off this year. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, that's not a terrible take, especially with it moving to Prime for some races.
TNT.
You know what? I'm gonna say something outlandish.
Oh boy.
It's gonna involve Hendrick. We're gonna witness the downfall of Hendrick. So mark my words. Bowman's gonna miss the playoffs and not a single Hendrick car is making the final four. That's my prediction. We're gonna see some outlandish shit of, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick making the final four. And Toyota's going to be pissing their pants at Phoenix when Ryan Blaney wins because no one's ending the Penske dominance, apparently. We're 3 for 3 on this in the next gen. I don't get what the hell the deal is. Oh, you know what? I forgot Briscoe's there at JGR, and he's a good Phoenix driver.
Briscoe's not gonna do it anything.
Get him to that final four. Get him to that
Mm-mm.
final four.
He's
Get
not
him to.
making it past the round 12.
Ah,
I don't see
I
it.
don't know. I round of 12 though has Charlotte and he's a good road guy and now he's in good
Here's the
equipment.
thing though. If you don't have the playoff points to start the playoffs round, the chances of making it to the round of 8 through the round of 12 is very, very little if you don't have any playoff points. And
Okay.
Briscoe's not the guy who's up there constantly getting playoff points for like stages or
But also figure he was at a dying SHR.
I mean, yeah, but I mean at the same time, I feel like that shouldn't really be an excuse, to be honest, in my opinion at least. Mainly because of the fact that, I mean, Harvick was still being very competitive in that car. Almirola had his moments in that car as well. I mean, you never know. I don't know. I just don't see it because I just feel like Briscoe's too inconsistent with that stuff.
I
And I just
mean,
feel like that's where he falls apart towards the end of the season.
I guess you could add this to my bold prediction. I don't know. I could see him, go win the first Darlington race, go win Richmond, go win go win like a random race somewhere, like Dover or New Hampshire. That's a good short track program with the 19 team. We always see them dominate short tracks with Truex, um, or at least be up front consistently. Toyotas are great at the short tracks, but that 19 team was obviously way different. So, he's already good at Darlington. Have him win there. Have him win Richmond because the 19's always good at Richmond. Have him go win some random other race. He could make it through the playoffs, especially being a good road guy and, Toyota being good at the plate tracks. Say they close out, Dega in the playoffs, and then they close out, the Roval. 19 wins the Roval. They get some good playoff points throughout there. Go win Dega or something. They could easily scoot their way through, make it to Phoenix, and that was a team where last year I said if Briscoe makes the Final Four, that's a car that's just sitting in their shop from when he won Phoenix a year ago, whatever. If they make the Final Four, he's got a good chance. Especially with Ford. I feel like Ford, I don't think it's a Penske thing. I just think the Ford's great at Phoenix for whatever reason. And I thought he could have won it last year if everything went his way. It obviously didn't, especially, once they got into the playoffs, he just kind of fell apart. But I mean, even Cindric looked promising towards the end of it. Um, but I don't think it would be totally outlandish to say, Chase Briscoe's a legitimate title contender. You just got to play your cards right. You got to see how everything feels. Obviously, there's going to be growing pains with the new pairing, but it's possible.
James Small's gonna ruin his night, man. Like he's gonna pull out a bad shit ass backwards pick call and just ruin his entire night.
You know what else ruins my night?
My forehead. I know. Shiny.
Yeah, that shit's glaring into my face, bro. You see that? You see that shine right here? That's all coming from your
Mm-hmm.
forehead.
Yeah.
Um, Outside of that, Daytona predictions, Truck Series, go.
I'm gonna be honest. For trucks, I'm gonna go with Daniel Hemrick. He's been pretty
Yes.
consistent on the plate
Yes.
track. And I feel like with, him ironically returning to the Truck Series in the same number he used to be in the Truck Series. Um, I think he has a good chance. Xfinity, I mean, maybe Nick Sanchez could pull it off because he
Okay.
has been pretty good in the truck and the plate tracks and the trucks. And that 48 team is very good at the plate tracks. Same with Atlanta and stuff like that. Cup Series, hmm. I'm gonna be honest. I know that everyone's saying, "Oh, it's Kyle Busch's 28th year" and stuff like that. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be. Um,
Fidel's
I
ready
think
to
it's gonna
punch you right now, by the
be.
way.
I think it's gonna be Ryan Blaney winning the 500.
Okay. Fidel, you're three.
For trucks, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be like the most random back marker part-time start and Parker driver you could ever think of. I
Norm
don't know who
Benning.
it's gonna be.
No,
Norm
Yeah, Norm
Benning.
Benning. Norm Benning will win at a
Norm
Daytona
Benning can't
this
even beat
year.
the pace car.
Don't do him like that. Norm
No,
ain't do
he
nothing
was a Eldora god.
for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. What
And
about
he
the
was
other
Uh,
two?
racing Clay Greenfield out of all people.
In an LCQ.
Clay Greenfield and Norm Benning will battle it out at
Clay
Daytona.
Greenfield, NASCAR Heat 2 legend. If you know, you know.
Oh my God. All right. What about the other two, Fidel? Xfinity Cup.
Xfinity will be Austin Hill because he's fat.
What the fuck?
That that
He's
does not have
just
any
so
correlation to it at
Is Fidel
all.
trying to get canceled on this episode?
No, he's going on a Kanye West
he
run right now.
He's on the Kanye West run. This is going to be a great, Instagram
No, what a
Reels.
way to start the year.
Fidel cancel montage.
see he's just really dominant at the plate tracks. He's just built like a huge wall. Like he's just a wall, like a refrigerator, just stuck in the car.
Okay.
But for
He's not
Cup,
even fat though. Do him some justice. Like over the past 3 years, he's lost a ton of weight.
yeah, he's gone from 500 to 300 pounds.
That's
I gotta stop.
that's
Moving on to
I'm
Cup.
not a fan of Hill, but that's just not right.
Moving on to Cup. Kyle Busch wins. I'm biased. It's been 20 years since he's been in the Cup Series. He will win 500.
I just heard the dumbest shit imaginable. And I don't even know what to say. Okay. Truck series, I'm going with Kyler on this. I gotta go for my boy. I need a backflip. I need Hemrick to win this.
Well, I feel now that you said that, I feel like you're gonna get a different
Uh,
backflip.
oh yeah, I'm gonna get a backflip into the fence again like he did at Dega. That, anyways, before I get pissed off about that again. Xfinity race. I don't know half the field. You want me to say something random? I'll say something random. The team has an affiliation with RCR. It's a plate guy. He's good at plate tracks no matter what car you put him in. He's won at a plate track at a dumpster fire of a vehicle. Matt DiBenedetto is winning the Xfinity race at Daytona for Viking Motorsports or whatever the hell it's called. It's an RCR car. RCR is great at the plate tracks. You're going to see this four-car tandem of the 2, the 21, the 48, and the whatever the hell number they are now. They switched numbers. I don't even remember what it was. Fidel's giving me the Dwayne Johnson eyebrow right now. I You need to stop. Um Cup race. I'm not saying Kyle Busch, but it's going to go to a guy that needs a 500. Brad Keselowski. Is that off the wall?
Fair enough. No.
I mean, RFK is good at these plate tracks. He's always been good at plate tracks. Keselowski himself. It's about damn time he wins one. I've never been a fan of him, but I want to see him win it for God knows what reason. It just needs to happen. It's the fairy tale ending, even though he's not retiring. It just needs to happen soon. Um, Outside of that, though, I think everything else is self-explanatory. And outside of that, I don't think we got anything else to talk about, except maybe insult Fidel after we stop the recording.
No.
Um, what?
Nothing.
That's right. Do you guys have anything else to add? Any other topics?
I mean, besides, I mean, for F1, the car reveals in 11 days, so that's something to look forward to.
Okay.
Because they do have that event where it's all of them at once. However, I am not going to be on Twitter anytime soon because they somehow get leaked every year.
You're not wrong.
I mean, we already know that the Red Bull is going to look the same probably. Aston
Well,
Martin,
according to their merch,
similar.
it's gonna be fucking hideous.
Wait, what?
The merch got, or not leaked, but it got posted for Red Bull and what was the other team? Like Mercedes, Red Bull, and I think it was Ferrari posted their merch, and they're all just hideous. The fonts are different. Like Red Bull's font is gonna be totally different now. It's just like Arial font, but white.
I hope it's Comic Sans.
I don't know what he said, but I'm
I
not.
don't know why, but I mean, I like the Mercedes merch. I think it looks pretty cool with the white and like the black. I think it stands out to be
Yeah.
honest because it's different than just just like the plain like black or white t-shirt or whatever.
See, you
I
know
don't
what
know.
they should have
Something
done? They should have done like the fade where it's mostly black and then like from the bottom towards like the torso, it's like that green fading in. That would
I
have
don't know
looked nice,
about
even if it was like the little like triangle effect going up.
I don't know about that. I think it's because the reason why they're not doing it is because a lot of teams in the past were doing that. Sauber is one of them actually
That's
now.
true. With
Red
Kit.
Bull did it in the past. I think McLaren also did it in the past. So that I just think that they avoided that just so that it wouldn't become too repetitive.
Competitive. Yeah, that's fair.
But other
Uh,
than that, I don't think there's anything else going on. I know that there's rumors of McLaren exiting IndyCar to focus on sports car.
that would be an oddball move, especially after expansion.
I I could see it happening because I mean
Who do they sell out to? Because Schmidt
it,
Peterson isn't involved anymore. That's
I don't know,
entirely Arrow
but
McLaren.
well, it is McLaren. I mean, really, ever since McLaren entered IndyCar, it hasn't been Schmidt Peterson Motorsports
Yeah,
anymore.
it became like Arrow McLaren SP for a while, and then like 2 years ago they dropped Schmidt and Peterson as
Yeah, it was
shareholders.
just over this offseason that both of them left the team.
Yeah,
So, I mean, with both of them leaving, I could see it because, with McLaren now being a contending team in F1 now and wanting to focus more up on sports car side of things, I could definitely see IndyCar, um, you know, no longer being there for them at least. Because, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we've seen a revolving door with the six last year. Rossi being on the team, he hasn't been. I mean, Rossi being on the team last year, of course, he wasn't great. And then really the stable driver that's been in there has been Pato O'Ward.
yeah,
But there's been a lot of talks with him, going to F1 and stuff. He could, it would be very controversial, but he could replace either Norris or Piastri if Piastri especially goes to another team like Red Bull or even Mercedes or Ferrari, for example.
yeah.
Just just to put that out there, I suppose.
I mean, okay, hear me out on this. Zach Brown may pull McLaren out. Say that team still exists. Zach Brown pulls in, what is it, United Autosport or whatever that other team is he has a stake in.
That could be a possibility because
That
I
way
think
it's not the
that
McLaren branding. You're focusing
yeah,
your baby on the big things and then bring in your side piece for IndyCar. Especially
yeah,
since McLaren hasn't been really a title contender. They were for 2020 with Pato. And outside of that, they're very hit or miss. Either one of them stomping on their own dick or the car's just not competitive. And we saw Pato do that a lot last year. One or the other. Rossi, one or the other. Um, the six car. I mean, I don't think we expected much from the six car. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he did that. I feel like that's a realistic thing, though. Just kind of swap out the names because IndyCar can't lose another team, especially a three-car team.
hmm
That would be bad. Obviously, Prema could take over those, and
I
there's a
I don't think
possibility.
I don't think Prima would do that.
Well,
I
they don't
think
even have charters.
yeah.
They're an open car, which I don't understand, especially since Juncos is
Well,
allegedly dropping out soon.
It's because Prima, I mean, the reason why they were so bad in F2 and F3 is because they were focusing on IndyCar. That's why they
Yeah,
dropped in performance because the year before they were contending for the title with Porsche,
yeah,
and the next year they were terrible. And that's
yeah,
because they put all their resources into IndyCar. So, for this season at least, I think Prima is going to be for now at least a midfield team because I mean Robert Schwartzman, I mean, we haven't really heard from him since 2020 in F2, 5 years ago.
yeah. He
So,
just kind of does whack, and outside of that, he's just kind of
and
popping up in random things.
I think Ilott will be pretty solid.
Oh yeah,
Probably, I could see them probably compete around like the 6th to 12th type of range for where they run per race and stuff. Especially with Ilott, because he's been pretty solid ever since joining IndyCar. So I think they'll be fine as far as that goes. But um, there are rumors of Rinus VK getting that last Dale Coyne seat though.
The last Alcoin seat, the 18.
Hmm.
I forgot that still is available.
Because here's the thing what people don't understand. So during the first portion of last season, he had that sponsor. I can't remember which one it was, especially for the Indy 500. But as I think it was Toronto, it was the first race without that sponsor. That sponsor was just gone.
Yeah,
And I remember seeing this article or Instagram post or whatever it was that there it was a quote from an interview of VK saying, "Oh yeah, they just basically booted me," which I mean, it's not true. The contract just ran out, and not only that, he doesn't have any sponsors because pretty much the second half of that entire season, if you go back and watch any race, VK does not have any sponsors on that car.
yeah. There's
So
no one.
I mean, it's not the fact that they wanted to get rid of him. It's just they literally
He
just
had
couldn't.
nothing.
They
And
literally just couldn't
Rasmussen didn't
sign
really
him.
have any sponsorship either. The sponsorship that was there was just a team sponsor because it was on Ed's car too.
Yeah, but I mean, I just felt like I don't know. I mean, with Dale Coyne being in the position they are, I just feel like they need someone like VK, to really not like lead the team in leadership experience, I guess you can say, but be like a stable driver because VK has been very consistent as far as,
Yeah.
not crashing the car or, running pretty consistently as well. I mean, he was in contention for the Indy 500 win last year up until that last pit road penalty under
Yeah.
that last yellow, I think it was.
I mean,
And he
I
still
I do
finished in the
see
top
it.
10.
I see it being realistic. He's a race winner. He's becoming a veteran, not fully, but he's got the experience. And you've got rookie Jacob Abel there in the 51. I could see it happening, just kind of a guy to lean on with experience. He's not going out there to impress anybody, just kind of go out there, keep the car in one piece, see what you can do. If he has a chance to win, he has a chance to win. If not, no big deal. It's not a car that you're going to expect to see up front any week. And it's also weird to say because that car went from, getting random podiums and contending for race wins. When Bourdais was in the car, uh, 2018, he was able to contend for wins on a weekly basis. Then you put, was like Ed Jones in there, and it kind of fell off. Then you started putting just kind of random guys in there in a revolving door. You know,
Yeah,
the team
and
really fell off between that 2014 to 2018 window.
well, no, I mean 2018 they were in contention. Not a lot of people know, but Bourdais was in contention for the title in
Oh
20
yeah. No,
early
no, I'm
on.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
just saying like the team that was like their good years where they have like good races or good moments. Oh, they'd be able to get a podium, or you'd have like a random race where oh shit, they're competing for a win.
Yeah.
You look at a Texas race, Vautier going for a win. You go to, Carlos Huerta's going for a podium. You go to Bourdais running for podiums and wins almost week in, week out in that car.
Yeah,
Um,
and even then, I mean, I feel like after 2018, it just went after that Indy crash in 2018, everything just fell apart. And then, sure enough, here comes David Malukas in that car, did amazing his rookie season, and nearly won a race at Gateway. It was chasing down Newgarden, and after he left, I mean, after he left to what was supposed to be McLaren, the team just fell apart again. And I think they just need a driver like VK in order to, rebuild themselves up from the bottom. Because I mean, last year they were nowhere.
yeah. I
So
mean, I've got an idea. Pietro Fittipaldi. He
I
Dale
just
still owes him technically. That's something that both have mentioned before is,
I
oh,
don't know about that.
Pietro had a full season here, couldn't finish it because he got injured. He's always welcome to come back. Pietro's got sponsorship. He's got 5 Hour Energy. He's got Oakberry. He's got like a couple other just random, get-togethers.
I
Put
don't know about
money
that.
and a little
I
bit experience.
I mean,
It may be something where you kind of just maybe you go for both. Pietro's running IMSA. Any race he can't do, put VK in. You've at least got two guys with minimal experience to lean on. You're
I
getting
I
your
don't know
money, you're
about
getting
that
your
because
veteran.
I mean, last season, VK, or not VK, but Fittipaldi was not that great. He was running last almost every week
But
before
Ray
that.
Hall also wasn't a good team at all. The
Yeah,
45,
but
Lungard was outperforming that thing. Graham was 50-50. One week he was good, next week he was running in the back.
yeah,
But I don't, it's hard to say. Is that a Graham thing? Is that a team thing? But Lungard was outperforming that car almost every week. But maybe that's why he's in a McLaren now, not Ray Hall.
but I don't know. I just don't see Fittipaldi being in that car mainly because of his performance, and not only that, it's just like I just feel like Dale Coyne can't afford to. I'm not saying Fittipaldi's a bad driver or anything. It's just that whenever he wasn't, uh, crashing the car, he was just in the back the entire time.
Yeah,
And I feel like VK is consistent enough to be at least in the top 10 almost every week. And I feel like that's what Dale Coyne needs.
yeah.
But who knows? We shall see.
Hmm. Well, with that being said, I think we've kind of discussed everything we really can and what's available. Fidel's been silent for the past 20 minutes, staring into my soul. Um,
I've been waiting for my moment.
what's your moment? You got any last words to say?
McLaren sells the team to another F2 team. It will be Trident.
Trident?
Yep.
That is
See
not
you
happening.
see
Trident
see
is
see you
not
would
going
have
to have
sold
that.
me if you said Carlin comes back to IndyCar. That's
The
at least
the
believable.
team that I would like to see in IndyCar would be High Tech, because
Yeah.
technically it was rumors that
They were going to
they
go
were
to
going to
F1.
have an F1 team, but that never
Yeah.
happened. So I mean, with High Tech potentially being another IndyCar team, I don't know. I would like to see it, but maybe as like a one car team with probably
Who's to say who's to say an Indy next team doesn't come up?
I doubt that's gonna happen.
I mean it's possible, but it's not outlandish, but it's there. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of possibilities, if high tech doesn't get into F1 because I know they went through that approval process. I don't think anything came out of it though. I don't think they ever announced, "Oh, we got declined" or "Oh, we got approved."
I think they got approved. It's just that they just literally had nothing for it
Oh, I
because
mean, they've got plenty of time. So,
yeah,
because I think that was like a window for like 2028 or something.
it was either
So,
2026 or 2028. I remember hearing the rumors back in like 20 early as 2021.
yeah, and then it started picking up traction like mid last year. They started talking about it more because it was when that whole Andretti deal was going on.
Yeah, but I
There's a
mean,
lot of weird things that can happen though with this team because obviously IndyCar's cheaper than F1, but with that hybrid system and them wanting another manufacturer, et cetera, et cetera, they're trying to get Toyota back. Oh, we want Ford, it's who knows. Fidel, you're over there making faces. You got something else to say?
Nah, I got nothing.
Get a load of this guy. Anyways, I think that about wraps everything up. Obviously, for you guys, for Kyler, it's almost 9:30. For Fidel, it's almost 10:30 p.m. Um, I think that wraps everything up for the first episode of the new year. Um, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode. We'll see you guys on the next one, where episode two, we'll be doing our season long predictions across the top three series. You're going to be seeing some faces and names that you're not going to see throughout the rest of the year on the podcast, probably, because it's just going to be involving everyone involved with BRE, Redux, just kind of the teams involved. So, we'll see you on that one. Until then, goodbye.